perfect, it's all about the journey. Where were you going? Fire in my eyes, I keep on growing. This is a little personal, the LA Project Show.
Doctor?
Oh, there you go. My bad, y'all. I'm having some technical difficulties. Let me check really quick. Make sure everything is good on my end. Okay. Give me a second. Hey. That's not the one I want. Alright. That's not the one I wanted. Hey, boom. Do I sound better now? Not chopped up anymore? Let me do something else really quick. I'm still setting up because I literally got off with you guys and went to go try to restart my laptop. That wasn't working, so I had to switch to a whole nother joint. It's all good though. No biggie. Alright, let me see here.
Doctor?
Okay, we're good. We're good. Let me just get into the studio real quick. And I got hungry, child. Try to give me something to eat. Project. There it is. Hope everybody's doing okay today. Having a great Monday. I'm just getting set up over here before I pick up where I left off. Okay. Love being an adult. I can eat fish for breakfast. I just want to get something set up before we get started. If y'all don't mind, so just hang out with me for a second. People like to play sometimes, so let me go ahead and set this up. There it is.
Doctor?
Okay. All right, so let me turn this down. All right, y'all. Welcome back again. I am your girl, LA. This is another episode of the LA Project. All right. And we're probably going to get into some like more random topics a little bit later, but I kind of just wanted to share something with y'all. Everything on, on YouTube, especially in these spaces, doesn't have to be so negative all the time. You can hear something that you can take away from, or something that's a little bit more inspirational, or something of utility, something that you can use, right? So I wanted to talk about something in particular because I don't know what it is. Okay, appreciate you, Rakim. Shouts out to you. I don't know what it is, but if it comes, because I don't think that it's just because you hit a certain age that you're just automatically, given a certain amount of wisdom or whatever, right? I think it comes from experience and how that person processes the information. I mean, I've met quite a few wise 20-something-year-olds, so I don't want to just deem it onto age, but when things start clicking, they start clicking. And things that used to matter to you don't matter no more because you see things in such a broader landscape that, like, I guess whatever's being presented to you is like, it's nothing, right? People are, sometimes they use different tactics and things like that to get you to do what they want you to do. And it's still, I mean, it's, in my opinion, that's just disrespectful because it's like, to a certain extent, because it's like, you didn't ask me what I wanted at all. You don't care what I want at all. It's just about what you want me to do at the end of the day, right? And I guess, that's how capitalism works. That's how the world was conquered. What's going on, TMKC? Hey, young Riaz. Shouts out to everybody in the building. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. The likes are absolutely free. I'm not really sure what's going on in these YouTube streets, but I'm saying it seems a little dry. So if you know somebody who wants to hear some live content, share the video out. You know what I'm saying? Let them in on what you're watching right now. Let them be entertained too. Thank you, boo. I appreciate it. My camera's kind of freezing up, but at least you guys can y'all can hear me better. And that's all that matters. All right. So I have known for a long time that I have been a little different, right? I'm not like, even as a young Black girl, I've always loved science fiction, stories about dragons, medieval type of times, more like I like to learn about shit that a lot of young people were not really into. And I didn't really get bullied or anything because of that. I always found somebody who liked what I liked, so it didn't really matter. But however, stereotypically, according to society, that's, young Black girl, what she like, what she know about science fiction? What she know about metaphysics? What does she know about these things? She should just know about, the hood. I don't know, Black things, whatever. I don't know. To me, I've always just been different, right? And even how I've looked at people has been different, but I've had a different type of life, I'm a middle child. I'm not sure if people know that about me, but I am in the middle. I have a sibling who's 9 years older, and then I have a sibling who is a year and a half younger than me. But even, I don't know, I remember being about 7 or 8 years old. And, there, like I said, since there was such a big age gap between me and like my older sibling, like my parents were experiencing two different types of children, you know what I mean? Me, who was younger, I'm more cooperative and things like that. But we all know how things get, when we get older, right? We get a little bit more rebellious. We form opinions and things like that. And some of us actually want to buck our parents, So I've never really been one of those type of kids, but I remember being about 7 or 8 years old and being told by one of my parents, like, don't be like your older sibling, but be a good example for your younger one. And for me, that was always very confusing because I was a kid myself. Like, what the hell do I know about being a good example, right? What's going on, Cash Kid? Shouts out to the crew. Y'all saw the Discord link. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit the share and like button. And stop being stingy, okay? I know it's the beginning of the week, but you got paid on Friday. Send me $1. Send me $1. $sign the LA Project. I ain't too proud to beg. Like, shoot, I could be doing something else with my time right now as everybody else could, but I'm talking with y'all. All right. Which I love. But come on now. I mean, I love a good nap. Anyway, let's get back to it. So being different has always been like, I don't know, a gift and a curse. Even when I got older, like I've never watched Scandal before. I remember when people used to have the watch parties and all that type of stuff. Whenever people gravitate towards something, they start sensationalizing it. I'm the type of person who will be the one who backs away. And I don't know what it is about the whole situation. I just feel like, hey, like the person in question, you know what I'm saying? The topic or the show is getting enough views. It's not going to matter if I add to it or not. You know what I'm saying? But I just never been with the in crowd. I never really have been. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where that comes from. But usually when people are on something, that's usually when I jump off and start seeing or trying to expose or look into the opposite. What's going on, Witch Doctor? Shouts out to him for the music and the visuals. Y'all hit him up if you ever need something. Shit. Put your damn, hold on, never mind. Don't worry about it. Just hit him up on Not For Humans. All right, that's his YouTube link. But yeah, I've always just been kind of anti everything. So I mean, I like what I like, and usually if a group of people are just like, and I'm probably gonna be like demonized about this or whatever, but like after a while I stopped being a fan of Beyonce. Like I'm not a part of the Beehive. I can't get into certain shows. I can't get into certain people for no reason, just because that's what everybody else is doing. That's just never been my thing, right? So I was saying on my previous live, and I don't know what was going on with StreamYard. I was getting all chopped and screwed and stuff like that. But on my last live, I was saying that, I'm kind of like led in a different way. And it's mostly like, I don't know, something that just like makes me gravitate towards it. I'm not sure if you call that more. And my mama she calls it spirit led. She considers herself very spirit led, and she was raised Catholic, and she's very skeptical of things, but yet she believes in being led by the Spirit. I believe that I am led by the Spirit as well. Certain things just interest me, topics, whatever, right? So I went into this bookstore and I just see this plain yellow book with red writing on it that says "The Road Less Traveled." And shouts out to Robert Peck. I swear to God, I'd never heard of this book before, but it sticks out in my mind, and I can't even show it to y'all right now because my nephew still has it because I lent it out to him. We traded it. I let him have The Road Less Traveled, and he traded me for The Alchemist. So until I return The Alchemist, I understand I can't get my, my Road Less Traveled back. However, when I opened that book, man, you talk about paradigm surfing, man. Like, I felt like my whole world was shook up in a good way, though. For me personally, being raised in the Baptist church, being raised by baby boomers, everything was still like more on the traditional side. However, we were coming into modern times. So like it was a lifestyle and environments that I definitely appreciate. However, it was hard for me to translate it into the times and the the days that I was living in and how to make it work for me, right? Yeah, straight up. I'm glad somebody else knows about this book, man. Like, for real, for real. The Road Less Traveled is something different. I mean, it made me look different. Made me look twice and differently just about how I process things that I didn't want to happen in my life, whether it be, disappointment. It taught me about expectations. It mentioned and dabbed on religion. It dabbed on a lot of different things, right? Even family dynamics, marriage dynamics, relationship dynamics, things like that. And it really gave me something else to look at, right? But when you are an individual who can kind of like, let me see here. All right, so if you're a person who looks at things one-dimensionally, like, then it's going to be what it is. But if you're it's that you're just like, wait a minute, is there a, oh my God, this is a whole container? Like, it's not just a rectangle. It's not just a piece of paper. Because I could have just held it like this and people would have thought it was just flashcard or something. But if you have the ability or the curiosity in your mind to flip certain concepts, aspects, objects, or whatever to find out truly all what it's really about, and in terms of that, what it contains, blow your fucking mind. Everybody doesn't like to do that though, because that's when you got to ask more questions. That's when you got to start questioning more shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I really, really hope that y'all do not believe that everything that you see is just, it is what it is. Nothing is what it appears to be. Nothing. But it's safe to think on those levels. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. And I don't know what it's about, you know what I'm saying? I guess it's just something about just having those, that type of mind frame or that type of disposition, when it comes to, being online and being on YouTube and stuff like that. It makes it kind of tricky. You know what I'm saying? It makes it kind of tricky because, in one aspect, whether people like to admit it or not, you inspire the fuck out of them. You say some things that hit home, and then you hear about similar perspectives, similar topics from just you sharing your opinion online for the next week and a half. They might not give you credit, but ain't no coincidences, okay? People be listening, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to everybody who's listening on vertical and horizontal right now, and also on Twitch. Appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? You never know who's listening. That doesn't mean that you're not influential. A lot of us are. What's going on? We got on the way news, I believe. That's who. Yeah, yeah. It's been a while, partner. What's going on? Good day to you. But yeah, people will try to make you seem like, I mean, why are you taking this shit so seriously? I mean, if I'm sorry for anybody who is a content creator. I mean, yeah, unless you're just out of this world. Okay, my bad. I got you. Won't happen again. I got you, bud. Appreciate you. Make sure that you hit that like button, man. Share it out. But yeah, I mean, I've heard so many. I don't know people. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you're a content creator, unless you're just facilitating a certain environment on your channel, most of the time when I'm asked a question as a content creator, I'm actually answering it honestly. So it's always funny to me when people just be like, oh, like these people who are, they want to have these genuine conversations, not knowing, well, why do people come online to spaces that we're having, conversations about government, cultural situations, men, women, whatever? Why do people who don't give a fuck always show up and want to say how much they don't give a fuck? Like, why is that always the trend? Why is it a problem when somebody who, like I said, is not with the bullshit? We're, we black folks, you know what I'm saying, melanated people or whatever. But I don't know about y'all. I'm tired of the shucking and jiving. I'm tired of, like I said, this is all a reflection for whoever's watching. They don't always have the balls to come out the clouds and say anything or how they feel. They take you for face value, each and every single one of us. So it's always kind of funny to me how, like, when I'm sitting here, and yes, I don't know how to manufacture I would have to have sticky notes and everything around this office to remind me of my assumed character if I wasn't being real. So I don't care what these people say. This is how they feel. All right. Regardless if they want to sit there and laugh, oh, I would just bullshit and I would just play it. You can't take a joke. No, I can't, because I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? People be acting crazy. But at the same time, when you take when somebody actually asks you a question, I'm assuming that you're gonna be answering from like a let me roll this or actually think about this question before I answer you type of situation, before I just make some shit up. If everybody's just making shit up, just let me know, please. But when people actually take the topic or the concept into consideration and take it seriously and want to keep it into focus, they're called weird. But I thought that, I mean, honestly, for the channel holder who is trying to hold the conversation, that would be a good thing, right? You got somebody who's not just a wild card, who's not a derailer, who's not just trying to deflect or be sow seeds of chaos, right? I thought that would be a good thing. What's up, Jen? But yeah, when you walk a different path and you don't follow everybody else's lead, yeah, you're gonna stand out. You're gonna stand out. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But understand that if you stand out, they coming for you. They coming for your ass, man. That's one thing that's a little bit unfortunate. It's a gift and a curse when you stand away from the crowd. Because 9 times out of 10, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, well, for me in particular, it's for a specific reason. I'm trying to, it's just like the the cough shot. That's what I'm gonna call it. You know what I'm saying? It was just like the cough shot. Hell no. I'm glad that I wasn't in a position or in a job or occupation where it was required for me to take the jab, right? Me, I'm the type of person who likes to watch from the bushes and fucking like peep out the blinds. Okay, yeah, let me see if the zombie apocalypse is gonna happen. Y'all go out there and be the guinea pigs. I need some more information before I make a critical decision like that. And it might even sound crazy, but I remember getting into an argument about the Kardashians years ago. This is before like even people was having panels and stuff like that. So this is well, let me stop. No. I'm lying. That I knew of. This is probably around 2000. It probably was around like 2014. And I remember having a argument about the Kardashians because even when it comes to what you view, I understood this even before like YouTube and all this stuff became like a real thing. Viewership is like it's like putting money in their pocket. You know what I'm saying? You can watch, you can hate watch or whatever, but if you watch and you are adding to this person's value. This is how these people get TV shows, how they get platforms and things like that, because somebody, whether regardless they was watching because they actually like the content or just watching the car crash. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be one of those two, you know what I'm saying? People are going to, if you view in and that's you are subscribing to it, regardless if you hit a button or not. If you tune in, if you add to the numbers, you are contributing to this person's success, regardless if it's nonsense or not. So similar to Jackass or however these people got to be into the, where they stapling their balls to their thighs. Like, who wants to see that? Somebody wanted to see that. Good, bad, or indifferent. So even when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? Or even before all this shit, like really me being a part of it, I took into consideration the fact that there was like I don't know, like I'm supporting them, I'm helping them to get to the next level if I'm giving my viewership, period. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I always saw it. I saw my participation personally as being very valuable. Maybe everybody else or other people should see as the same way, because your viewership and your participation is valuable. It jumps starts a lot of bullshit careers, but I guess it just gives us more things to complain about in the future, right? About our community. I wanted to take a shout out really quick. You wanted to stay anonymous, no problem. But thank you so much for your Cash App as always, and I enjoyed your show last time. Good cooking up. Let's go ahead and celebrate your man and get back to the show.
We humble as a bumble in the middle of the jungle. We got problems and we fumble and we stumble, but we don't grumble. All we do is hustle, and you the reason that we on our way up. You the reason, 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 you the reason.
Appreciate you so much for your Cash App. Again, if you would like to support or bless the channel today, that would be $ the LA Project on Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. All right. I'm sorry about my camera. I can see myself. But I really don't know what to do about it at this point in time. I know people would rather see me than not, so I'll try to stay as still as possible during my monologue. All right. So, hold on, let me finish down a little bit. Okay, there we go. It went back up like by itself. Jeez Louise. Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, but like at the same time, like when you want to do something different and you understand kind of like the grand scheme of things, you know what I'm saying? You get a little bit more selective of what you choose to participate in. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But you know how peer pressure works. And we honestly we're too grown for peer pressure, but you know what I'm saying? People still fall into it, believe it or not. And I just, child, I'd be like, where are your parents? Where is your auntie? Where is somebody who could shake you by the damn shoulders and be like, what is wrong with you? Peer pressure shouldn't even exist these days. We either make decisions as adults or we don't, right? But you know something else that I've noticed, like especially with being on YouTube and stuff, is all this, all these cliques, all these groups, all these gangs, right? These people who like to band up, and more power to them. I mean, shit. If it's for like, if you guys are like, people who have like minds, you've been through some things together, or you've been there for each other through some hard. I don't have nothing against you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, those your peoples. You know what I'm saying? Of course you're gonna ride for them, but to expect anything more from just a mere acquaintance or a chat warrior or something like that is just ridiculous to me. And I've noticed that especially online, people like to try to use that shit. Like, you can't go where you want to go and you don't pay your own internet bill or anything like that. It's crazy to me. I don't know. I've run into certain situations and I normally am very quiet about them. And I'm gonna still stay quiet. But the constant alluding that I keep hearing is just, it's bothersome. It's annoying to me. I really don't bother nobody, man. Please, and I put this APB out for anybody who was cloud watching or in the chat live or watching on the replay. I did somebody wrong. Come and explain to me, so I can either apologize or I can explain where the hell I was coming from, or explain to you what really happened. Because there's a lot of back chat, chitter chatter, and all these other things. I mean, I'm 5'1", okay? I'm a $115 wet. You feel me? Like, I don't understand why people be so afraid of me in terms of just you know what I'm saying? Just being real. Like, what I do to you? You know what I'm saying? What did I do to you before you start going and run and tell that? What's your talking points? Ain't none of your talking points. What's going on, Miss Joy? Good morning to you. Man, I've witnessed a lot. And like I said, I be quiet, man. But like, just don't keep mentioning little shit. Like, don't do that. But like I said, if somebody got something for me, please, like, show me. You got some receipts, you got some screenshots, you got some anything. Because I keep hearing about these certain things. And I get it. Like I said, for the person who stands on the outside of the village, you know what I'm saying, and likes to do her own thing, and she has her autonomy and her own, like, but man, please be understanding. Like, my intuition is on motherfucking point. I know when to hold them and when to fold them. And that's why I said on a show, I think it was a lady show a couple weeks ago, that I don't have no problems with ghosting a motherfucker, because I know that y'all not going to keep it real anyway. You're not going to keep it real anyway. But it's always easy to choose the outsider to be like, oh yeah, this person's crazy. This person did this. This, like I said, come. Hold on. Matter of fact, I'm going to put this up for the rest of the show. If anybody, hold on. And I'm anonymous because, like I said, I keep my mouth shut. I don't be over here talking shit. No, I mean, hey, Miss Joy, you know what it is. I'm just talking about when you know you one of them chosen people. You're very intuitive. You are very just like, you know what? That's what you chose to do. Cool. I'm gonna let the creator. I'm gonna let whoever you believe in handle your ass because you know you was dead ass wrong. But when you choose to do that, that's when people just be like, I don't know, they feel like they can just come for you a little bit more. And that's just, to me, it's very foolish. It's very foolish. Oh, yo, whatever. That's what I said a long time ago. I was like, damn. I didn't get no, no jersey. I didn't get no contract. I didn't get no anything to be belonging to people's crews and be owed loyalty and stuff like that. Now, I fucks with people who are genuine, man. And y'all know who my peoples are because I shout them out all the time. That's pretty much the only places that you can see me at. But you know why? Because these people they don't be trying to get nothing from me. They've actually given more to me without me even have to ask, and probably more to me than I've given to them. They just been real. They people who are real lives, who have real concerns, who come on here to unwind or to build other networking relationships, to enjoy other people's company. And that's who I be fucking with, man. I don't be wanting all these people who be like, okay, by the way, this gonna be, this gonna be the play, but just because I said this don't mean that. Like, no, man. Like, don't have me signing up for dummy missions and shit like that, man. That's not cool. That's not me. So again, like I said, just because I sit on the outside and I stay quiet and I don't pull up receipts, I don't be calling names, hit me up. I'll tell you what's real and what's not. Because Lauren don't be messing with nobody. But this is going to be the price that us outsiders, these people who walk off of the, the common trail. We don't want to take the highway. We know a shortcut. You know what I'm saying? It might be a long cut some ways, but shit, it's a different way. And we gonna get to enjoy the scenery and get to talking, you know what I'm saying, instead of being stuck in traffic and angry. Okay. Those people who like to take the road less traveled, they're going to have difficulties, man. You just are. I think that everybody has light. You know what I'm saying? We are born with that light in us. I don't know when the hell it starts getting snuffed out, but life in different circumstances, even certain people, as we know now, will try to go out their way to really, really tone you down when they don't even know who the hell you are or what you're here for, what you're supposed to be doing, what your capabilities are, or even what you could provide to their life. The fact that you have light and they don't will piss them off. And if you don't go along with their plan, you will become the worst enemy in the world. I swear to God. Like, I remember, even being in a relationship, you can let people disrespect you, make mistakes, you take them back. But once you've had it, then all of a sudden, you're the one who's cold and heartless. But while they was fucking off and making mistakes, hey, I was just being human. Don't let people do that to you, man. But that's what they like to do with the people, like I said, who see things in a different way. We're not being, what everybody else, I guess, or what you've experienced in the past. We're actually showing you something different. But it seems like that's very, it's hard for people to even just kind of discern between the the go along to get along people and the people who are independent thinkers. That's what I mean. When you're an independent thinker and you don't get along, you don't go along to get along, you're gonna hit some snags in the road. And it's nothing that you're doing, you know what I'm saying, in general, yeah, and it's based off of a book. It really helped me kind of like understand a lot of things in life, especially the things that I couldn't control. This nigga is stupid. Look, yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. But like I said, even though we grown as hell, people still are falling underneath this falling for peer pressure. They're not really saying things that they feel. They're just saying things that make them look good, make them fit in a certain category, doesn't get them ostracized or criticized, right? People who follow trends. And I mean, like what you like, but I'm just saying, me personally, I've just never been a person who has followed something or got into something just because that's the wave of the time. I have to really like it. And if I like it, then I can verbalize why I like it. Not just, oh no, she's a queen. Like, how that didn't say nothing. So when you stand on your own too, and like I said, you have your own reasons for things, your own perspective, your own experiences with certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, the majority of the people are not going to be feeling you. And that's just the way it's going, that's just the way that it is. Mob mentality usually rules, So being different, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it, man. I think it's much better, to be like a person who doesn't need a whole lot to be stimulated, right? Like kids these days, like, even I had to ask my children, like, why are you playing a game on the tablet and you have the TV on? You need to pick one or the other. Because what are you doing all this for? You know what I'm saying? You can't pay attention to both of them at the same time, right? You got to pick one. But it seems like I said, if you do that, you know what I'm saying, these days, in terms of like I said, just picking something that you really want to focus on, and other people can't understand why you're focusing on it. They'll try to, that's where all the labels and the criticism and the titles and stuff come from. We were talking about on the lady show, like, if simps, were the only real men. And I don't know about y'all ladies, but most of the derogatory names that I've heard about men in general have always come from other men. I've never just heard a woman just like, oh, like, he's a simp. Like, I've never heard that, but if you're a gentleman who has a different perspective of how to treat women or how to approach them and how to respond to them, then that probably will be, the title that will be given to you. Now, some people don't mind being called a simp, right? But some people, it bothers them. It bothers them to be called anything outside or anything that's considered negative in society. Even if they know for a fact, hey, I'm just showing her respect. I'm just making sure she's going, she good or whatever. But some people will fall into that whole simp narrative, right? And change who they are just because they don't want to be made fun of. See, the people who actually see things for what they are and want to treat people how they want to treat them, those are not the simps. Those are the people who are walking that fine road that we were talking about earlier. And like I said, it's not going to be easy because you're going to be criticized at one point or another. Because people, like I said, who do things for their own reasons, they're for their own reasons. And it could be something small. Like, for example, I don't really look into all of this, and I appreciate everybody. Shouts out to everybody, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who ever offers me words of kindness, encouragement, anything like that, especially when it comes to aesthetics and things like that. But like I said, I grew up different. I wasn't raised like that. You know, I have my older sibling is a burn victim. And it's weird because like when she takes certain pictures, I can tell like we have the same angles, and I can pretty much guarantee that she probably thinks what would I have looked like? What my life would have been like if I wasn't scarred with third-degree burns. And with me growing up with her in the house, I learned that this is I mean, nobody does anything to deserve the vessel that they're in, right? And it's very temporary. You know, if somebody wants to, I don't know, if somebody's jealous of you, if somebody wants to harm you, if somebody thinks that that's the only thing that you got going on, they can make that really short term. Like anything can make that beauty short term. Hell, what we just heard the other day, somebody said that 35, a woman over 35 is old. Like, so for me personally, I never really I grew up being aware of how I looked, but I never put stock into that shit, if that makes sense. So, like I said, we all learn different lessons in different ways, and it can be something, like I said, it don't even have to happen to you. It could be something that you witnessed, or somebody that you know in your family was affected by it, and you see how it played out in their life. And because of that, it changed your perspective on something else. A lot of people just be like, well, shit, that's them. You know, they gonna have to deal with that shit. Like me, I take things into consideration. Maybe that's what makes me a little different. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not as judgmental as other people. You know what I'm saying? I have my opinion. But if somebody can articulate themselves and say, this is how I got here, I might not agree, but I can understand. But again, that's not a life for the weak. It's not. But if that's who you are, then don't be afraid of that either. Because it's useful. There's a job for everybody. That's why I'm like, you know what? I know it was like kind of like a a thing to talk about for a little while, but like I ain't got no problems with Chanel. You know what I'm saying? And I've told her this. I actually admire and respect her work. You know, like social workers and stuff like that. Like those are not people who are being told that you're going to be rewarded for, you know, you doing your job. But they still got to do it, right? It still needs to be done. And that takes a special type of person, you know what I'm saying? So that's definitely not average. The average person, man, I used to help out in a social service office, like doing filing and stuff like that. And these people had cubicles, so like we could hear everything, you know what I'm saying? And these social workers will be complaining about the fact that the applicant had an iPhone. Oh, I thought that they needed food stamps. What are they doing with a phone like that? And it's like, bitch, can you just file the paperwork, ho? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do what you got to do. You don't know what their mama could have bought them that phone. You don't know. And they just being judgmental because they just think that it's because these people are on social services, they just don't deserve nothing. Like, some people really do think that shit because they're not there for the right places. But when, like I said, you walk that different path away from everybody else, you don't just go along to get along and collect your check and look out the window and say everybody else's kids, but no, your kids go outside and play with them kids too. Like, so shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you spend probably less time with your children than than everybody else, or the average amount, which is not much. So please be quiet. It's going to be a different game. It's going to be a different response. It's going to be different. It's just going to be different. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you just you stand on your own shit. Period. And that doesn't mean always being contrary, because I'm definitely like, I try to, especially on panels and things, and even in life, I try to listen. What's going on, Shock? Since you got the grill, baby, I still got to get mine, man. I want my open face on my fangs, the ones I can take out and put back in. Anyway. I try my best to, especially on panels, to listen more than I talk. I try. I'm not perfect, you know what I'm saying? But I try to listen, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know where you're going with this. And one thing that I learned, especially like, being a youngster and in school and stuff, they actually, thank God, not only did they teach us cursive, but they taught us critical thinking. All right. And when you think about that whole situation, because people just, oh, I'm grown. I know what I know. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Well, what if you're presented with different information that actually makes sense? Are you saying that you're just unwilling to change your mind? If that's the case, then you're not a critical thinker. I am a critical thinker. That doesn't mean that I'm gullible or I'm green. You have to make it make sense. I'm not just so concrete where I'm just like, nope, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I try to listen first because I want to see where you're going with this. But a lot of times, these people are just, they're just repeating stuff, man. They just repeating stuff. Because when you actually ask them, I've been, and I haven't challenged too many people in like public or whatever, but I have challenged a couple of people before. I was being called, this was like some months ago. It's not very, the term isn't as popular as it once was, but I was, being referred to as a hyena at one point in time. And so, there was a time and opportunity for both of us to be on the panel together. So I said, why the hell not? Let me ask this person, what makes me a hyena? Or what makes him call me one? What the difference is what? Yeah, you can't say. You can't say. So you're just going along to get along. Or you just saying shit because it makes you feel good. But you don't really have no real reason. But I'm sitting there. Yeah, you remember that shit. But I'm sitting there busting it down. You feel me? Like, no, when you said this and we was on this show, in this chat, and he was, yeah, exactly. What's going on, H&M? And that's another thing that's always kind of like I don't know. It's another thing that people who are a little different and independent, they have to understand that when you stand on your shit, other people, they gonna try to tell you that you lying, that you crazy, you can't take a joke, you take things too seriously. What else they gonna say? Damn, ladies, what else y'all heard? You know what I'm saying? When people done openly disrespected you, and you respond and be like, I don't even know why you responded, and I don't know why you engaged. What, nigga? Shit, like this is just like any other place. Are you kidding me? And who is this person? I'm not going along to get along with this individual. Nah, they're not gonna get along, away with disrespecting me when I'm sitting there trying to listen and understand where the hell they coming from. So there's going to be different ways that you're going to be hit with
Doctor.
negativity. Unfortunately, like with me specifically, like I said, since I stay to myself, people think that they can just be on a channel, stream after stream, alluding to certain things or announcing certain things, and I'm not there because once I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. Principle is big to me, okay? Principle is big to me. I will cut my weed man off if he makes me wait too long. Oh, okay. Because you know I'm a regular customer, but you okay, you lie. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna make you wait that shit out for about 2 months. Principle, okay? So personally, if you do something to me, like, man, okay, depending on, like I said, if we could talk about it, but if you feel like I don't even deserve a conversation and you just run and tell your peoples, your tribe, whatever, again, my email is on the bottom right here. So if you've ever heard any lies that Lauren has told about you or on you, please hit me up so I can get this straight. Like I said, I don't be talking shit. We can keep it confidential. I'ma just hey. But when you stand by yourself and you really don't have, like I said, like a whole mob of people who's gonna, stand on your bullshit, it's possible for a lot of people to lie on you. It is. And they are. I mean, that's what they call damage control. And it's funny, I learned this from white people. I learned about leverage and damage control from white women. That's so funny. Actually considering certain dirt or certain information, like I didn't even know what leverage really was. Like my mama didn't teach me that. White woman taught me that. I was like, And damage control. So when you know you a person who ain't shit and you did somebody wrong who is not about that shit, it's usually the person who ain't shit. They're going to be the ones who go ahead and try to dispel or try to say something about you before you can say what you need to say for real. And it's crazy because I mean, I honestly don't know. I've moved around. I moved about every 5 or 6 years of my life. I've had to move and start over. So I've had to I've been through this shit so many times. And I think it's mostly, like I said, just because I'm quiet, man. Like I just be observing. I don't like to jump into the pool if I don't know what's in it. Like I don't know what's in it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never been that type of person. But I've always just, had people who just want to poke with me. Just because I don't want to be bothered. Just because I want to hang who I want to hang out with. Just because, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh my goodness. And then if I do find a crew to hang out with, then there's always going to be somebody on the sideline trying to throw salt in the game. You don't need to be hanging out with those people. I would never do you like that. That sounds like dirty macking to me. But hey, what do I know, right? Shit be crazy. This shit be crazy. But again, you want to be different, y'all. If you don't want to be like anybody else, if you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, these are just some of the things to look out for. So if you wonder why sometimes you just be like, damn, why is all of this heat coming my way? Why are these people picking with? Because you not falling for the bullshit, man. You're actually asking questions. If it doesn't make sense to you, and it might click in like 2 more answers, you know what I'm saying? But at this point in time, I need a little bit more clarification. There's nothing wrong with that. People don't like that shit though. Just like people really don't like boundaries. They really don't of that stuff because they really want to just do what they want to do with you. But y'all have to be able to recognize that. I've definitely like I said, I don't have a problem with pulling myself away from somebody. Because my intuition be on point. Okay, my intuition be on point. And it's not anything that needs to be explained or can be explained. It just is what it is, man. You just have to go into it knowing that, hey, you're not going to be understood all the time. You know what I'm saying? You're not.
Doctor.
But are you doing what's true to you? Is this how you really feel about the situation? Do you know what you can handle? And are you going to be able to voice that to other people? You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, like I said, people they're about the are you not with us? Are you against us? Okay, well, somebody has to be for me. And if I'm not for me, then who else can I expect or depend to be for me, like on my side 101%? Not after they fucked up, hurt my feelings, had to come back, apologize. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody who is considering me at the same. Ain't nobody gonna do that but you. So don't let anybody try to make you feel bad about looking out for your goddamn self, because if they were to have their way, you probably be broke and destitute with your reputation in shambles by the time they get finished with you. And trust me, like I said, I had people who tried. They tried it. They tried that shit. I've been through too much. My intuition, like I said, is on 1,000 right now.
Doctor.
So nice try. Nice try is all I can say. I did want to show something else because this is like I got some time. Why not? There's this video that I wanted to I wanted to share. Let me like I said, I had to switch my computer. Let me pull up something really quick. Of course, I need to log into Canva. What else I gotta log into? Excuse me, y'all. Let me just try to get some stuff pulled up, and then I'll get into story time, because, like I said, special people usually have special experiences, and it's always funny for me when I, you know what I'm saying, when I'm when I'm looking at some of these videos and interviews and stuff, and be like, I know these people. I know a lot of people. I just don't choose, like, again, I choose the road less traveled. I'm not gonna go for the easy alley route, man. Like, not if it's something that don't make sense to me. Let me pull something up. Just trying to get into here real quick. Child, look. Like I said, who else is gonna look out for you if you don't look out for you? Now, there's a limit. You know, you got to have some fun, but that's where trusting yourself comes into play. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna have certain circumstance. You know, like, I don't know, like if I was ever, and trust me, I lived in, you know, pretty much grew up in Atlanta the time I was 16. So, and I've been protected, man. But at the same time, like, shoot, I don't know you. Okay, I will meet you here. I'm driving my car. Like, it's just certain situations. Like, don't let people pick you up. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain circumstances, you just always got to be vigilant as a young woman, man. And I'm not saying that that's sad. I think everybody should be vigilant, and paying attention to what the hell is going on. Um, Damn, this is the wrong account. Um, but as especially as a woman, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm only 5'1". I ain't got time. You know what I'm saying? I do not have time to be on nobody's front page or nothing. Like, no. So yes, I'm going to meet in my car. I'm gonna leave when I want to. I've left people literally where they stand because they thought that just because we had dinner and we about to go see a movie, like now you about to get some ass. Like, nah, bruh. No. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. Uh-oh. I hate all these electronics. I really, really do. It's too much just to sign in to shit just because you're using a different device. Like, it's ridiculous. Okay, continue. Damn. Shit crazy. All right, so let me go ahead and pull up this let me pull up this video real quick and get this started while I work on the rest here. Where are my... I don't like working on this thing. Shouts out to everybody in the building. Okay. Now, you know what? Hold on. Let's No, I'm gonna start this one first. Let me do this one first. I think, where is it? Oh, there it is. All right. Go to the playlist. Need to open this one. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to pull something up. And my Mac is acting slow right now. All right, so I'm gonna pull up Lord, and I don't want y'all talking no shit, okay? Because you know how we not gonna be young spring chickens forever, okay? But we clipped this man quite a bit in this space. I wanted to pull up a video from Clifton Powell. He is the gentleman that played Panky Nigga for Friday. Well, was that next Friday, technically? With the Jerry curl. Say something else. Say something else, nigga. Say something else. Ooh. So let's go ahead and play a video from him. He recently just had a interview with Art of Dialogues. He's talking about Hollywood. Also, I believe his divorce and some other things. So give me 1 second, you guys. Just trying to wait for this to load up. Like I said, my Mac is acting slizzo. Thank you. Get rid of the playlist. Give me 1 second, y'all. See, dang. See, this is my laptop with no damn ad blocker. So we gonna have to, I'm gonna have to damn go through the ads myself. All right. Where in the world? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start this right now because I ain't got time.
Doctor.
All right, stop. Thank you. Ooh, says Clifton Powell reveals dark Hollywood secret.
Clifton Paul, man, happy to have you on the platform, my guy.
I'm glad to be here, Art. It's been a long day, but I'm here.
What you been up to, man? I know before the interview you was telling me about man, you lost 10 million in your divorce, bro.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I did a seminar yesterday, a group for one of my dear friends. Her name is Tressa, out of DC. She's a producer. So we were talking to the producing groups and the writers and trying to give them the ins and outs of the business. And one of the things that I try to do is when I do lectures, I have one slated hopefully to do at Norfolk State, and I want to take it around to the HBCUs, Evening with Clifton Powell. And what I want to talk about is all the things that nobody helped me understand when I started in the business. So one of the panelists asked me, what's the biggest mistake I made? I think the biggest mistake I made in the beginning was getting married. Not so much because marriage is bad, but trying to build my career inside of my marriage. It's simply impossible. The divorce rate in Hollywood is almost 97% amongst entertainers. So, and not that I wouldn't have married my ex-wife or not have my kids. The best thing that came out of that were my kids, but I just, being an entertainer, and I'll give you an example. In 1979, myself, Denzel Washington, Sam Jackson, Angela Bassett, we were all poor actors who were just entering into a very difficult business. And nobody ever told me and taught me anything about Hollywood or how to be an entertainer or be in the entertainment business. It's a little different when you're in New York and you don't necessarily make it to the big national level. But when you leave New York, like we all did, only left New York, not necessarily come out to Hollywood to be famous actors. We were in love with the work, but you don't make a lot of money. So when you come out to Hollywood, the next thing you know, you do rock. And then from rock, you do Menace to Society. And then from Menace, you do Dead Presidents. And then I went on a 35-year run, where I did Rush Hour, Next Friday, Phantoms, Deep Rising, and all the movies that people have Ray and all the movies that people have seen me in. And inside of that has its own, the trajectory in the art.
I loved him on Ray. I can't even lie. Uh-oh. This thing is moving so slow, y'all. I'm gonna have to come in on my other computer. I loved him. I loved Clifton Powell on Ray, or in Ray, when he played Ray Charles's manager. I was so glad that he had kind of gotten out of those thuggish, ruggish type of stereotypical roles. He was playing something serious, and and it was actually in theaters. There was a lot of movies that he was in that didn't really hit major box office, type of status or whatever. So I was happy to see him on Ray. That was one of my favorite depictions of him. Now, I actually got a chance to meet Clifton Powell. This was back in probably 2004. He was visiting in the city, and yeah, we kind of, he invited me to an award show that I went to. That's what I'm trying. That's what's taking me so long to try to find these damn some of these pictures. But that's what I'm saying. I hope that you guys aren't laughing at his appearance right now. He's an older man, you know what I'm saying? We all get old. Let me see here. Let me see if I can log into my in my other computer. And I can pull this back up. Uh-oh. But sometimes, like I said, when you sit there and you walk your own road, you know what I'm saying, and you stand out, you get some pretty amazing opportunities. I actually got to yeah, Clifton was presenting an award that year. So Lisa Ray was Princess of Turks and Caicos at the time. She was sitting at the head of the table. Oh my goodness, the infamous Dick Gregory actually hosted the whole event, civil rights leader / comedian. I got to meet Coretta Scott King. I'm trying to pull up, like I said, I'm trying to get some of these pictures. I met Chris Tucker. You know who was not pleasant at all? Uncle Phil was not pleasant at all. He was like, I don't take pictures. That nigga didn't take no. I was like, what the fuck you in? Like, Uncle Phil, how dare you? It was so messed up. But hey, he had that right. Let me see here. Trying to get my other all right, give me a second. Damn. They gonna have me do it like this? All right. I am struggle streaming today. Well, I don't know what's going on with my shit. But we gonna work it out. Mama gonna work it out. Let me see here. You turn it down? Okay. Yeah, so let me see if I can get some of these pictures up really quick. It was an amazing night. I said I was sitting with nothing but presenters at the time. Even Omarosa, the black lady who was supposedly in there with swimwear with Trump, because she was on The Apprentice back in the day. She was at the table. Eva Marcel she was right directly across from me. Farnsworth Bentley was sitting right next to me. And yes, he was that stereotypical gentleman. Every time that I needed to get something to drink or if I needed to use the bathroom, he was pulling my chair out. He was pouring the next glass. It was wonderful. So yeah, it was interesting. I met Clifton when I was at work. He was in town for the awards ceremony, and I don't know. According to him, after talking with me, he said I was too smart to be so young, and what else did I want to do? And that's when I was singing and trying to actually get into the industry. He offered to show me what the industry was, and that's what this whole event came to be. So it's interesting. I haven't seen or talked to him since. I'm glad that he's still doing well. I just didn't know that all this stuff had kind of transpired. But again, like I said, sometimes that's the one of the pros of walking that, walking that path that's least traveled, man, because people can tell when you're different, man. They can tell when you're different, but you still got to protect yourself from exploitation. Okay, so yes, I'll meet you down at the Ritz-Carlton and this, but I'm driving myself. I don't need a car. I don't need you to be in control or have that much handling in terms of anything, with me leaving or going to you. So
You still got to be careful. All right, here we got some pictures. We got some pictures, y'all. Give me a second. Give me a second, y'all. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I know how I'm gonna do it. Don't even worry about it. Give me a second. I'm gonna see y'all gonna see young LA when I still have my braces on. Oh shit. About to be a blast from the past. I still look pretty much the same. Let me see here. So let's do. Okay. I got you. Give me something. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. I'm going through all this for y'all because I love y'all so much. I just want y'all to see. I don't yeah, this mostly is stuff that's on my Facebook and on my Instagram and stuff, but I don't I don't let everybody you know what I'm saying, see all that door. So because y'all crazy. I'm sorry. Like if y'all my family or people I went to school with or knew from like actual real life, then it'd be different. But you know, I can't be letting everybody see my Facebook and my Instagram and stuff. I can't. Okay. So we're going to do this like this. Let me present. All right. So, damn, it's really not going to let me do that. All right. These are some of the pictures on the side. Let me just blow them up on this way. I ain't got time. Okay. This is what we're going to do. All right. So, this was the night that I went to the Trumpet Awards with Cliff. So this first picture right here to the left, this is Nancy Wilson. She's a jazz legend. She also played Claire Huxtable's mom on The Cosby Show back in the day. Of course, y'all know this is Jesse Jackson. I got to meet him. There's Farnsworth down here on the right, and me. It's Chris Tucker and me. And Mia Eva. So this is all from the same night that we had, like I said, this was like a more of a humanitarian award type of ceremony where, you know, the black folks in Hollywood, if they was doing good in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, then they would have this type of award ceremony for them. So I was sitting with presenters. Like I said, he wanted to know what I wanted to do. And at the time I was singing, he was getting ready to actually start filming the movie The Gospel with Boris Kodjoe. And I can't remember what the girl's full name is. She went by the name Yaya on America's Next Top Model. And he wanted to recommend me for that movie, but honestly, I was very cynical and I just didn't believe him. I didn't believe a lot of people back then. But let's get back to what happened with Cliff. Let's hear what he got to say. That's one thing I will say though. Dude was very smart, very, very much a gentleman, you know, and just very chill. Like he wasn't, you can tell he had been doing this for a while, pretty much. He had been used to being around nice things and beautiful people, and he just liked more conversation and just wanted to show people things at that point in time. So shouts out to Clifton Powell, man.
Has its own isolated energy. and it takes all of your time and all of your energy. You barely have enough time for your wife and your kids. And I didn't understand that. And so when I was married at the height of my career, making a lot of money, I was out of my house maybe 80% of the time. And no marriage can survive if you're not giving it attention. And then there's all the other temptations on the road.
You know what? I am so glad that he is saying this right now because, like I said, he just said, he mentioned earlier that Hollywood has a 97 divorce rate. Okay. I mean, it's crazy to me. So when we think about these people who are beautiful, connected, they got the money, the resources, and everything, and they still can't make it work. Okay, regular people were screwed, for one. For two, we have to. I'm so glad that he said pretty much how much his actual job takes away from him actually connecting with his mate. You know what I'm saying? He was like, he couldn't even imagine. He was like, he messed up because he got married while trying to build his career. He didn't have his career solidified, and his career had him away from the household for the majority of the time. So whether it be these Aisha Currys or whatever, like, people got to understand, like, there's a huge sacrifice, military people, all kinds of stuff. There's a huge amount of time per year that they are not really allowed to really, well, I mean, you could be with each other the whole time, but that would be an extra strain, I think, on the relationship. One person's got to stay home with the children and make sure everything in terms of the household is still functioning. So I'm just glad that finally somebody has admitted that it's not as easy to be married to these high value men, these high earning men, as what people make it seem like. There's always going to be a cost, you know what I'm saying, if that is going to be your mate, you know what I'm saying, because they got to take time away from the household in order to make the money. That's just the reality of the situation.
The women, the gambling, the drinking, the partying, and before you know it, you're in divorce court. And that's really what happened. I survived it, because money is amazing. But if you're not happy, money is not good. So I don't blame my ex-wife. I don't blame anyone. I just, with my journey, trying to help young entertainers understand, build your career first, and then focus on marriage and children and things like that.
I wouldn't expect Hollywood couples to break up. I mean, they have everything that we do not. So what would be the real reason for their divorce rate being so high? I mean, I think that, if they say that for the most part, or for the average person, the reason for divorce and things like that is mostly finances. You got two people who are, at least one high earning person in Hollywood who can, afford to take care of everything. You know what I'm saying? So what do you mean that it's expected that marriages fail in Hollywood? I would think that they would be expected to thrive because they have the things that the average person doesn't, which is, like I said, more of the resources type of situation.
And I had an outside life, and I'll tell, and again, I told the panel yesterday, I have a movie that I'm developing about relationships. And one of the things that I like to talk to women about, and men, is that men have a hormone, and of course, I didn't understand this before I got married. Men have a hormone inside of their brain called dopamine. It controls the pleasure center it's in the pleasure center of your brain. And that's drugs, sex, gambling, smoking, party.
Now, I could have swore that Janet Jackson had a song back out in the day called "It's the Pleasure Principle." Oh. So is he saying that only men can benefit or actually have dopamine and different like chemicals running through their brains? Because I beg to differ. Women, every human being, they have their stimuli might be different, but the chemical, I believe, is the same. So this will be interesting, if he's coming out with some type of documentary or movie. This will be interesting because I think men and women both they deal with that, that whole dopamine, cortisol, all those different chemicals that run through our brains in order to give us a different responses to say what we like and what we don't like. So this is interesting. I mean, he's kind of alluding to it's more just a male thing, but I would beg to differ.
And rock and roll. And I did all of that. I didn't do drugs. That's the only thing. That's the only reason I'm sitting here right now. But I partied, I gambled, I had a lot of women, and I was never home. And it's very difficult because women have a hormone in their brain called oxytocin, which is the cuddle hormone. So intimacy is personal for women. It's emotional. It's not personal for men unless you fall in love with someone. And I didn't understand any of that. So one of the things that I want to do with my lecture or the evening with Clifton Powell is break all that down for young entertainers, because back in my day, nobody guides you through. There are no mentors to call because now we're all competition. So that's, how I take my spin on it. I got 2 beautiful children out of it, and I love my babies, and I wouldn't trade it, but I wouldn't do it the same way.
Wow. Let me ask you this. You'll be the perfect person to ask this. Do you think the financial side of divorce is fair for both parties?
That's really a great question. That's a very difficult question, because I think the way the law is written, depending on what state and LA is 50-50. So when you go into marriage, you're basically entering into a business situation. And everybody has to uphold their part. So it's fair in the sense that if my ex-wife was the breadwinner, she would have had to give me alimony. If she kept the kids, then she has to give me alimony and not child support. If I get the kids, she has to pay me child support if she's the breadwinner. If I'm the breadwinner and I get the kids, then, I have to pay her alimony because I have the kids and there's no child support because they're with me. So it's fair. I mean, I know females, I have a couple of female friends who are paying child support and alimony. So I think you have to understand that marriage is on top of the love, it's a contract. And if you don't uphold your end of the bargain, then you're going to get a problem. You're going to have a money problem if you don't have it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, because a lot of people say that it's unfair to the men. So, I don't know.
Well, I gotta say this. I'm a little. If you make a baby, you gotta take care of your baby for 21 years at least. So if you want to stop making babies, then put your. That's as simple as that. My ex-wife didn't make me marry her. I come out of a traditional Christian kind of background, and I felt like that was the right thing to do. I didn't understand the business part of it, but I wasn't a good husband. I can sit here and tell you I wasn't a good husband. Men are not monogamous. Women.
I'm sorry. Again, and kudos for the honesty, bruh, because like I said, when it comes to us mere mortals, us regular folk who don't have the platforms and the millions and all that stuff, like everybody is, it's, even if you are married or whatever, it's like, are you a husband or are you a wife? Are you a good one? You know what I'm saying? Like the honesty, like I think that's how people really get to fixing a lot of problems. You know what I'm saying? Like you can hit snags and speed bumps in the road, especially in the past. But it's like, if you are just going around blaming everybody else and you didn't have nothing to do with it, it's just like the world is against you. Like, bro, like you ain't never going to learn anything. You're never going to learn. You know what I'm saying? So being honest with yourself. And he was like, he wasn't a good husband. I can appreciate that. I mean, she probably wasn't the best wife either, but that's not what we're talking about at the moment. He can only speak on himself. And that's the only thing that I think that people should be speaking on. Their efforts, their selves.
Women will never want to believe that, not because we want to be, but because we have dopamine in our brain. And then when you put entertainer on top of it, popular, famous, however you want to consider me, it comes with a lot of outside attention, especially from women. So I would sit here and say, I wasn't a great husband. If I could do it again, if and when I marry Marquita, I'm going to be focused. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be disciplined. And I've learned how to handle all the outside distractions. So if the woman is the breadwinner, she's going to end up paying. If the man is the breadwinner, he has to pay. It's the way it goes. There's nothing if you're the breadwinner, you can hide money if you want. But when you get inside of a divorce proceeding, you are under a guideline. So if you try to move money or hide money, you can get locked up for that. So if you get married tomorrow and your wife makes $300,000 and you make $1 million, then take $500,000 and give it to your mother or put it in an account that's that the federal government can't touch. And then you go into your proceedings, but then you got to open your books when you go into your proceedings. But it's ways to get around that. I can't talk about this on the podcast. If you got a great friend, you can say, listen, bro, or you got a, older son, you say, hey, hold this 5,000 or 500,000. But once you are inside of that divorce proceeding or injunction, so to speak, then if you start moving money around, you can get in trouble for that. Trust me, I thought about all of it.
Have you ever turned down a role that could have boosted your career, but you turned it down because it went against what you believe in?
Judging from my resume, I haven't turned down much. The thing that I want people to understand is a lot of the smaller movies that you see.
Yeah, Clifton was Hollywood's Pookie and Ray Ray for a long time. That's all I was like, bro, when you got into and it was later on in his career, but when he got into, got that role, on Ray, I was like, good job, buddy. Like, cause you don't need to be no more minister societies and all this other stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? He played that good thug though.
Me in, probably was a friend of mine or a producer who hired me when I had no money, or they come highly recommended. I've been offered some different types of roles that I didn't take. I did a TV series where they wanted me to play the neighborhood coon, and I walked off of that. But most of the time when I read a script, if I like it, I do it. I don't let when you get to a certain level, when you get to my level and above, your agents kind of tell you what to do. And I don't let anybody tell me what to do. I've worked my ass off and I do what I want to do. Sometimes, like, say for instance, I'm going to speak on this movie because I caught a lot of flack for doing this movie, Women That Aren't Loosed. Now, how I got that role, and please, everybody that's listening, understand, I never read that script. Reuben Cannon, who put me in Selma, Lord Selma, he put me in Buffalo Soldiers, and he put me in Why Do Fools Fall in Love. He called me on a Thursday and said, hey, Cliff, I need you tomorrow for this role. My main actor dropped out. I need you. And I came in because that's one of my partners. And he hired me when I had nothing. He saw the talent. And so when I read the script, when I got to the set, and when I read the part about the little girl, I made them restructure that. I said, I don't think it's necessary for me to have to touch that little girl. Let's just close the door and we hear, maybe her scream or something. I'm not doing that. Now, on the flip side, I wouldn't have taken that role if I read the script because I have a daughter and I know how that is perceived. But after we did the movie, we went around to a lot of places and had panel discussions to help women who have been physically, mentally, and spiritually abused. So
sorry, that's interesting. Because when we hear panels, to be like, we just think about YouTube panels and stuff like that. So I wonder, were they really like, I guess, like having public discussions, like, I don't know, at the city hall or whatever, like when they said panel discussions, I always thought that was I think that was kind of interesting. Give me one second. Sorry about that, y'all. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's like the best way that we can, like, that people can really get information. Because I don't know. That's what I was saying earlier. I'm like, I hope that, just because you on YouTube, it's
that means that you making everything up about yourself and how you feel, like, and what you think. That's kind of nuts. Like, I hope that you're telling the truth. I hope that you're being yourself. I hope so. You know what I'm saying? What happened to my daggone bruh? What happened to my ad blocker? That's crazy. Okay, never mind. Don't worry about it. Why is it frozen on this side but not on this side? Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, so usually at film fest. Okay, that's cool. I've never been to one of those. Zyrax, have you ever been to a film festival? So like after they show the film, did they have like maybe like the some of the actors or whatever on the stage, or the directors asking or answering questions? That'd be kind of dope. That'd be real dope, actually. So I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you're sitting there with the person in front of your face, you know what I'm saying, you definitely know that this is like how they feel. This is their, this is their opinion and XYZ. But it's like, again, like I said, I would hope that people on YouTube will be doing the same thing. I don't need to see Zyrax's face to know that, like, pretty much, like, she's consistent. I'm thinking she's telling the truth when she talks to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that she's being herself. And I'm hoping that the rest of y'all are as well, because it just don't make no sense, man. So when people say like, oh, the internet isn't real, YouTube isn't real, man, the manosphere has reached outside of, to where they're making there's a whole show on Netflix that is based around the manosphere. Like, you guys have to wake up, okay, and stop. And if you are just on here being a character online, please stop. Because there's other people, obviously, who are soaking this shit up. They're using us for case studies. They're saying, oh, this is what Black people are like in America. They're saying all kinds of stuff. Like, please stop with the bullshit. Please, just be yourself.
He put me in Buffalo Soldiers,
Boogie.
And he put me in Why Do Fools Fall in Love. He called me on a Thursday and said, hey, Cliff, I need you tomorrow for this role. My main actor dropped out. I need you. And I came in because that's one of my partners. And he hired me when I had nothing. He saw the talent. And so when I read the script, when I got to the set, and when I read the part about the little girl, I made them restructure that. I said, I don't think it's necessary for me to have to touch that little girl. Let's just close the door and we hear, maybe her scream or something. I'm not doing that. Now, on the flip side, I wouldn't have taken that role if I read the script, because I have a daughter. And I know how that is perceived. But after we did the movie, we went around.
Yeah, see, and somebody's going to have to refresh my memory, but I could have swore, okay, so Woman Thou Art Loose, that is a book written by T.D. Jakes, the mega pastor. And I believe that story had to do with some type of SA or something. I never watched it because especially like with the intertwining of like a church theme. I don't know. Like I never really wanted to see that. Has anybody seen Woman Thou Art Loosed? Because I know that those were that was a heavy type of movie. But like I said, that's why I was so glad to see him kind of break out of those types of roles and stuff when he did the one about Ray Charles. Made Ray Charles's manager. He did a wonderful job.
I've been physically, mentally, and spiritually abused. So something good came out of that, but that's not a role I would have picked for myself.
So they wanted you to play a neighborhood coon. Tell me more about that.
It was a TV series. It's a TV series called Simon on the WB. I think it was the WB network. I can't remember. But the week before the show came out, they was scanning all the new shows. And in the Ebony Junior magazine, they said Clifton Powell starring as the neighborhood coon in a new TV show called Simon. And so when I got there and they wanted me to do some coonish type things, I said I wasn't going to do it. So I met with the big white guy who ran the show and had about 7 shows on. And he basically said, I bet you will do this. He said, I bet you would do this movie if it was a William Friedkin film. Now, if anybody want to know who William Friedkin is, he directed The Exorcist. So basically he said, I bet you would do this role if it was a William Friedkin movie. I said, I bet you I wouldn't. And I think I was fired before I even left my seat, but they still had to pay me $70,000 for the 7 episodes. But I would have never taken that role for myself.
I know when I interviewed Fred Joe Starr, he told me that he turned down the role in The Wire because they wanted him to kiss a man.
I got a audition maybe a year ago for Mr. Black. I don't think he read the script.
See, that road less traveled, you know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to this acting and performing and stuff, if this is your craft, if you say that I'm an actor, how far are you willing to go? You know what I'm saying? And so he had to explain that, oh, I'm gonna be playing the neighborhood coon. He was like, yeah, nah, I can't do that. But since we've already been, entered into this contractually, you ain't got to, film me, but you still gonna break me off my bread. Same thing with Fredro Starr. That's from, man, he was he was way, in terms of acting, he was the bigger star from Onyx than anybody else. Like, he was on Sunset Park and stuff like that. So if he turned down a role in The Wire HBO film, or a series, should I say, because that's the road of walking the road less traveled. You're gonna have to take some hits, man. You're not going to get rewarded with the money, the fame, all the concerts. There's certain people, especially with in music, who just get exalted or shoot to the top really fast over a dumbass song. Y'all got to start paying attention to the reasons of why these people. It's not because they're that good. They're going along with something. Okay, the people who reject those things, they get blacklisted. They get told, in tabloids, or people tell, in tabloids that they're crazy and that they can't be trusted and all these other things. They're the real ones, though. You know what I'm saying? All the other ones who just let folks put hands up their backs and pull strings from their elbows and wrists. Those are the fake motherfuckers. But, they look shiny, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what they get paid for. They get, all the best outfits, the best looking lives, and this, that, and the third, but they selling bullshit. The real ones who are trying to take, move in integrity and trying to take the, the right roles and the right jobs and the right, whatever for their craft, they're the ones that's getting shitted on. But it's part of the territory.
So I read the script and I called him. I said, this guy, that's the gangster, he has this guy named Raphael or somebody hanging around the bar all the time. I said, who is that guy? So he called casting. He said, well, they kind of like lovers. I'm like, that's not going to work out. I'm not homophobic. I've gotten a lot of flack for saying something in the heat of the moment. I'm not homophobic, but I have no problems with transgender people or gay people. I don't care what color they are. I have no problems with, I'm not sexist or racist or any of that, but I have boundaries for me as a person, which makes me uncomfortable or comfortable that I just don't cross, and it's not
That's exactly
militant.
what I was saying.
It's just that certain things I'm just not comfortable with. I'm a heterosexual man. I'm not comfortable with kissing a man, whether I got to do it for a role. I commend actors who can handle that inside of their psyche. I'm not wired that way. And that's just me. And I know that, like I played a few roles where, like Sybil Brand, where I had to kind of be brutal with women. I would never take one of those roles again. And I enjoyed that movie, but that guy was brutal, but that's not something I would seek out for myself now.
I mean, you've been doing movies for decades. I mean, why would they offer you something like that at this point in your career?
I don't think they think. Well, this guy was the guy was a gangster. So it's, after you see me play Cuddy, I became like the number one go-to gangster guy in Hollywood, but there's certain boundaries that I have, I've never seen a gay gangster, but I'm sure they have been. There was a guy out of DC named Wayne Perry who was bisexual. He was a gangster, biggest killer in DC. I just read about him. I wouldn't play him because there's a scene where one guy walks in and sees him having sex with a man, and I'm not doing that. But they may come and say, man, but we needed a guy that's rough and tough and can play those rough and tough roles. I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's just me, So I don't necessarily, when I read something I don't like it, I don't give it a second thought. Just say I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I heard about that, man. I seen an interview with Sean Branch where, he told a story about how he walked in on Wayne Perry with a man. So, yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. But he's one of the biggest killers in DC. It don't line up for me, but I can't. I don't get into people's sexual life. Like I don't have a problem with people announcing that they come out. I think your personal, intimate sexual life is your personal business. It's like most people don't know my story because I haven't told my story. Some of it is not for the public. I put it in my book, and when you write a book, you can edit what you want to go in and what you don't want to go in. But you never, even if I was gay, I wouldn't come out and just say, "Hey, hi, I'm Clifton," and just want to come out. That's your personal business. That's what I think. And whatever people think about that, I don't really care. I think your personal, intimate, sexual life is your personal business, not to be broadcast to the world.
Well, let me ask you this since we're on the topic. How you feel about actors and comedians who wear dresses and play female roles?
When you deal with comedians, you're dealing with guys that spoof stuff all the time. I've done spoofs. Like somebody saying, well, you was in the breaks, you had riding on the back of the scooter with my shirt tied up in a little like pedal pusher bond tied around my belly. It's a spoof. It was a spoof. I didn't kiss nobody. I was making fun. Like, don't be a menace while drinking juice in the hood. It's a spoof. Some people don't know the difference between reality and a spoof. It was a spoof. So some of those guys just do that just as a spoof. Now I've done a couple of times. I did a play where I imitated Diana Ross. I imitate people, but it's not something I want to do a role on a TV series. It was a spoof. And there's a difference between comedy and doing a spoof as opposed to playing a character where you're in a dress all day long, every day, and that's your character. I don't knock that. I think everybody has to make personal choices. And I think as a watching public, a lot of people don't understand what it's like to be in the entertainment business. It is really bizarre. And you have to make choices that are not always popular. But I'll do a spoof. I'm not sure.
Yes, Holly Weird is really bizarre. That's why I had to get up out of there at the quote unquote after party. No, thank you.
I do a spoof now because the climate is just so crazy. But I've done a few spoofs. I think, and I think if a guy wants to wear a dress, if that's what he wants to do, I think, like you've seen Jamie Foxx play Shanae. Was it Martin that played Shanae? Jamie played the other lady. Yeah, it was Martin. I mean, that was a personal choice. And it's a comic, it's a comic stuff, So I think you get a little bit of a pass when you're a comic, or you do spoofs like I do, because I do drama and comedy and I intersperse them,
Do you think Hollywood is trying to feminize Black actors?
Bro, you've been doing too much damn research.
Ooh.
I personally think we gotta be mindful of the images and sexual, trying to turn men more, less masculine. But we're in a different time now, bro. We're not in the time when I grew up when men were men. You shook hands, you ain't hugging nobody and all that old nonsense. But I'm not gonna comment on that because that's something I think it's just a personal choice, man. I don't believe anybody can make anybody do that. I think you got to make a personal choice. And I also get when it's a spoof, but I think, I don't know if it's a concerted effort, but
See, that's a part of that, like I said, that make or breaker. You're gonna be one of those people that just goes along to get along. And you heard him say like that's a personal choice. I mean, yeah, that's a PC politically correct way of answering that question, right? Um Man, I guess it is a personal choice, but again, like how much are you how much of yourself are you willing to give up? I mean, if you're a person who is a comedian, I guess you don't mind doing impersonations and you see it as an impersonation. I don't know, but again, that just, it separates, like I said, the ones who go off on their own versus the ones who join the crowd and do what's easy because, oh well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Martin and Jamie did it. Like, here, just put on the dress. Like, everybody ain't down with that shit, and everybody's the trajectory of everybody's career is not going to be the same as a Martin or a Jamie Foxx, and we have never. I mean, can we hear how Martin feels or Jamie feels about when that happened? Do we know how if they were really down with it or not? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to be one of those people who just joins the crowd? Are you going to take the hit and be an individual? That's the question.
We're in different times now, we in real different times now. So everything's a lot more fluid, and some people just go with the flow. I'm just a little different. I'm more, traditional and conservative, but some people just go with the flow and say, that's just part of my work. And I get it. I don't think Hollywood has a concerted effort to be any certain way. It's just a machine, and we got to keep fighting against the stuff that's not fair. But I made a lot of money in Hollywood. I am not here to bash Hollywood. Hollywood is just a microcosm of the regular world. And it's good and bad, but I'm not here to bash Hollywood. I think you got to know, like when I do lectures, I tell my students, know what you're going to do. Know what you're going to do. Know where you are mentally, spiritually. Know where you are when it comes to your wellness. Know where you are when it comes to your sexuality. And you make a personal choice. Nobody holds a gun to anybody's head to make them do anything. Maybe there's some coercion, maybe there's some grooming. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you got to make a personal choice. And a lot of times people make choices because they broke or they want to be famous or they have big egos and they want to tell their family they made it. So, but they don't say how they did it. It's a lot of different factors. So I don't think it's a concerted effort on Hollywood.
Like all these get it out the mud niggas. Like, did you really get it out the mud? Did you really? Especially if that success came real fast, we gotta start looking at it a little differently. We get it. You ain't gotta tell us all your business, but like, come on now.
At least that's my personal opinion.
Do you believe in the casting couch?
I don't believe in the casting couch. I don't believe
shit
in it. I don't listen. There are a lot of beautiful women in this business and a lot of beautiful men, Black, white, Latino, Asian, a lot of beautiful women. Whatever your preference is, I don't really care, but I don't think you can block people. I think the problem with the casting couch is that if you don't do it, you ain't gonna do the role. I think that's really horrible to put on someone. Like, come in my office and have sex with me and then I'll give you the role. If you come in casting and you get the role on your own merit and you run into me at a restaurant and you want to go out, and if I'm not married or if I'm whatever and I'm available.
And see, that's a problem. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, it's not like the majority of people who end up being signed to Quincy Jones or whoever, they actually meet him. They meet representatives, they meet A&Rs and things like that. They meet flunkies as well. People who will be like, oh yeah, I work with so-and-so. If you do XYZ, I can get you into this. They don't have no pull. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all gotta look out for that too. Start doing your research. If you like music, if you like movies or whatever, start paying attention to the credits. All right, start paying attention to the credits. If you're a fan, you know what I'm saying, of like when I was a fan of music, like writers, producers, choreographers, I knew their names. You know what I'm saying? So like it was a little different when you say that you was okay. Well, that now I'm gonna need probably like a different meeting or a different setting or whatever. Because when people first approach you, it's usually in some type of um shady settings, the club, like I said, when you're working, when you're busy, when you're preoccupied, when you're distracted, right? And yeah, you got to be careful for that too. There's ball players and people who be gone for the majority of the time. They had a homeboys and everybody else watching their house and stuff. These don't be these people's houses. These people do not be having the pool that they say they can. Y'all, please do your research and be vigilant, okay? Because these people be out here lying as well in order to get what they can, benefit from you, from unsuspected people who are genuinely just trying to do something. Now, I hope that you understand that if you actually have a gift or a talent, or if you want to be in the creative world, sleeping your way to the top is not going to get you there.
I think that can work. That works all the time in this business. But for me to say to you as a beautiful female, if you don't have sex with me on this couch right here, you ain't getting the role. And I think that's wrong. And I'm gonna always say it's wrong. I know I'm gonna get a lot of feedback out there, but I'm just telling you the truth. Anybody that blocks you from something to try to force you into making a decision because you need money or you want to be famous, I just think that's wrong.
And that's facts. And unfortunately, again, when we talk about the people who walk the road less traveled, there's going to be some type of manipulation tactics, because you're a lot of people who just go on their own. They're really genuine people. They're really authentic people. They're not really trying to get over on other individuals and stuff like that, man. They're really not. But I'm saying, at the same time, like I said, it makes them a target to people who are on those predatory vibes. And when you don't do what somebody wants you to do, then that's when the manipulation will come in, and that's when they'll try to make you feel like you doing something wrong, when really you sticking to your boundaries and to your code, man. It happens all the time. You see, even with these grown ass people, if somebody has a position of power and they see that you want something so bad, they are going to try to figure out, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? I've heard that before. It's disgusting.
I have a term for it, but I can't.
I always say not that bad.
Say it on here, but it's just not good to me. I've had females come at me sideways as producers, it's a weird business. It's a lot of beautiful people. People get attracted to your look. Some people get attracted because they like dark-skinned guys. Some people like older guys. Some people like guys and girls have hit on me. Some people like you because you're powerful or you give powerful performances. This ain't real, man. This is acting, and at the end of the day, I'm an actor. When I go home, I leave the character at work. So anybody that tries to...
See, I wonder if this is even like a part of parasocial relationships as well. What's going on, Lucky? Hey, love. Hope that you're having a great morning out there on the West Coast. Glad you caught the show. I wonder if, even some of these, when you look at a freaking fat ass, greasy back, it makes me, oh my God, I need a clip. Whatchamacallit, Eddie Murphy from Harlem Nights. Fat, greasy back, no neck hat. I mean, he was going in. When I think about Harvey Weinstein, you know what I mean? And some of these, people who know that they don't really have no talent, like for real. They don't really have nothing. You know what I'm saying? They don't even have anything in terms of just general appeal to the general public. When they meet some of these young stars, they just want a piece of them. That is so fucking predatory and evil, in my opinion. Especially, like I said, if you got somebody, this is what they did ever since they was a jit. You know what I'm saying? In their mind, they're watching all the productions that you put together as being seen something as pure and organic and creative and beautiful and all these things. And now they want to be a part of it. And this is what they find out about it. really on the cool with me. I'm not really feeling your talent at all, but I ain't never had no chick that looked like you. So I can promise you the part. And if you down with it, then at least I got a piece of your soul and I'm gonna just keep it moving. Like that shit is so foul, dog. Like I've seen this though. I've seen this. I'm just glad that, like I said, people, please listen to yourself. If there's any something like if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I remember meeting a gentleman. This is a black dude from England. You know, he was a part of BMI, the British, department. I've never seen a black woman look like you, LA. I'd love to bring you over to London and make you a star. Really? Bring me to London? Nigga, can I bring my mama? That's when he started tripping up. No, I said, she's my momager. I was 19 at the time, sir. Like, what did you talk about? People be, like I said, they invite you over to the crib. Oh, this is my crib. Then you start looking around a little bit and the mail on the countertop ain't addressed to them. Like, nigga, you lying. Like, people, y'all got to start paying attention, man, because these people be out for young energy. They be out for that innocence. They be out for that naivete. You know what I'm saying? They be out for that shit because I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it works or not. I mean, similar to vampires, they get them some fresh blood. It adds on to their life. I don't know. So a lot of these Hollywood stars. Have y'all seen Ellen recently? This chick, man, she looked like she's the Walking Dead. I don't know how some of these people age so quickly, especially after the Epstein and Weinstein list came out. But again, like I said, you got some of these fat, unattractive people who are, the Clive Davises. I mean, what is Clive Davis? I mean, I got to start doing some research of what these people have actually created to make them credible in the first place, because I really do be feeling like they do be feeding off, you know what I'm saying, off of people who they wish they could be with, or wish they could be, or wish they could even just, they don't even equate. You know what I mean? They do on paper. They surpass these people on paper, but in real life, like the society and to themselves, when they look in the mirror, nah, bruh. They know that they on their way out. You know what I'm saying? They just be like, damn, I've never had a woman that age and did. Sometimes I wonder if they do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they promise all of that in terms of the casting couch. I can get you this and I can get you that, just so they can just say I had a piece of that. I tasted youthfulness before. I'm sorry I had to say it like that, but to me, it just, like, that's just what I can just imagine in some of these Hollywood people's eyes. Like I said, after the Trumpet Awards, there was a after party. I didn't stay probably about 15 minutes. I was ready to go. It was just the energy shifted. It was nothing exactly that I could put a finger on that I saw. It was just how it felt. It felt so thick. And like I said, my intuition be on 1,000. So no, when I don't feel right, when I get that nudge, when I get that spiritual niggling or whatever, like I get the fuck up out of there. And I hope that you guys listen to yourselves as well, because we all have this instinct and this ability within ourselves. We ignore it because we're told to not take it seriously. Listen to yourself, guys.
Tries to groom anybody that tries to persuade. I think that's wrong, and I think it's got to continually be stopped, no matter who does it.
What you mean by the producers came at you sideways?
I've had producers say certain things or do certain things, male and female. But I know how to handle it because I know what I'm going to do. I always tell people when you get to Hollywood, know what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not desperate to be famous. I think people don't know I wanted to play football. I never wanted to be an actor. I have no idea how I got into it. I mean, I know how I got into it, but I don't know why the gods picked it for me. But I'm not, in my early years, you can't give me $1 million to make me do something sexual. I'll just go get a damn job. I've turned down jobs because they didn't want to pay my quote. So, and my manager before, Chris, would say, you got to do it. I said, I got a degree. I'll go get a damn job. You know, so you can't persuade me with fame or money. I think when you are desperate to be successful, you may cut some corners. But when I do my lectures, I say, do the work. And at some point, the work will get you through. You may not make it to the top, but the middle is a great place to be inside of an entertainment division like I'm in the middle, and I make a lot of money and I do well and I have a great life. And I didn't compromise anything.
So in a sense, the casting couch is real then. Because I mean, if you're saying that producers, they came at you sideways, hypothetically speaking, if you would have took them up on the offer, I'm sure you would have got better opportunities, right?
Well, let me tell you this. A guy came to me maybe about 3 years ago. He said, Mr. Powell, you know, I love your work. He said, I'm gonna tell you right now, you'd be a lot bigger if you were bisexual. And I said, well, I've gotten as big as I have. But I wanna also be clear.
That reminds me of the bullshit that they used to say to me when I recorded music. They always advised me to tell producers and people that I walk into the studio with that I'm single. And always younger. Well, I never really had to lie about my age because I always looked young, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I was like, if I'm 19, nigga, I'm 19. Like, shit, I ain't finna say I'm 16. But they did encourage the lying about being in a relationship and lying about your age. They said it was more marketable to brand you as a single person or this, that, and the third. I didn't think, I mean, shit. I mean, when the boy groups came out or whoever, I didn't care. I didn't even ask. I just assumed that LL Cool J was married. Like, shit, he fine in a motherfucker. Like, shit, I know he got a woman. You feel me? But it's like, I don't know, for women, like, especially for me as a young girl, like, it wasn't about all of that for me, about like who somebody sleeping with and if they have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever. But going into the industry, that definitely was something that was advised.
I'm not knocking anyone, actors or producers, but I just think from a humanitarian standpoint, whenever you block someone, I think that's wrong. Whether it's race or gender or because you don't like the way their hair looks, that's just wrong. Like, to me, racism is just wrong because you're too black. You can't do this. I've been told I was too black for shows. It's a lot of stuff that I've been through that I'm going to put in my book. So I just think that's wrong. And I'm always going to say it's wrong. And I'm always stand up for what I believe is right. That's just me. I've been set up. I've never been arrested, never been in trouble. You can't set me up because I don't break the law. But I've been set up. I've been approached. I've been, how I don't want to say persuaded, but gestures have been made, you know, and I don't want to get into the details and name any names, but it's been men and women, not a lot, but a few, you know. And my problem, like I said in the beginning, is that if a beautiful woman comes in and likes, and she auditions for you and she does a great job, she should be in the running to get the job. If you say, hey, well, you're in the running, but you got to sleep with me to get the job. And if you block her, I think it's wrong to me. That's just me. If she says, hey, you know what? I want to do it, then I would take it outside of the business. It's just weird. I taught acting classes. I've taught acting one-on-one students who, one girl came out with her biker shorts and her, you know, sitting in Indian style. I'm like, ma'am, are we coaching or what are you doing? Because I don't mix the two. I always.
I'm sorry. Good for you, man. Because, yeah, like, and it just for those people, you know what I'm saying, who are out there who think that everybody knows what they doing or what they getting themselves into. No, they don't. They don't. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you got to think about circumstances and things like that. But if you are invited to a space, you know, an office where you're just supposed to be auditioning for whatever role, whatever talent, that's all you're supposed to be there for. Period. Anything else, I mean, we got somebody who is more experienced, got more money, more resources, and probably has more years on their life. Like with those, at least those four assumptions right there, how can the person who's sitting on the couch to audition know what they getting themselves into? It be pissing me off when people be talking about stuff like that. Now, some people, yeah, they're a little, you know, they like, I had to get rid of a friend like one time because even her mama told me y'all need to use what you got to get what you want. But at the same time, she had a son who she was trying to get into the music industry, and she was using her older daughter to do. No, that's dysfunctional. No, I'm sorry. No, you must find your own way. Okay. And that's usually, you know what I'm saying? Why force a way if that's not for you? Why you got to use your sister and exploiting her body because she lives in Atlanta and you up and coming and you want to be a singer? Like, no, man, like, watch out, man. So no, I understand that there are some women, you know what I'm saying, who definitely be like, well, shit, if these niggas are stupid enough to offer me this, that, and the third for a piece of pussy, fine, here you go. But a lot of women, they do not go through coaching classes, acting classes, voice lessons, drama teaching, piano lessons. They don't go through all that stuff just to be like, I just want to bust it wide open to get the part. No, they actually want to show their talent. They want to show all these years of what they've been working and dedicating their lives towards. That's what they want. So assuming that people know what they're getting themselves into is a little presumptuous. You know what I'm saying? These people flip it on them and they're dead ass wrong because they're older. They're predatory, period. They see how hungry these people are. They ask them preliminary questions, even about their family and their backgrounds and all this stuff. Now, you know, this girl went to Juilliard and all this stuff. She went to school to actually become a classic, you know, took classic singing and piano lessons. No, she don't want to bust it wide open. That's not what she's expecting. You guys need to stop. You know what I'm saying? Stop giving women the lesser sex, the weaker sex, the one that's kept more in the house and more sheltered than the other. Y'all got to stop giving them so much wherewithal and acting like a 50-something-year-old Shannon Sharp can get finessed by a 19-year-old prostitute. Like, come on, y'all need to stop.
Always tell my students, don't shit where you eat. Well, that's an old term expression. Don't put your dirty business in your job, on your job.
Right.
It's not good business.
That's something like there's a slim amount of people, like I said, who are down with the fuckery. But for the most of us, we want to work and go home and keep that shit separate.
Sometimes it's too close for comfort, even when it's consensual. But I in my 46-year career, I don't mix my personal life with my business life, you know, and I don't mix the two. And when I was on a panel yesterday, I told some of the young producers, don't do that, because in this business, people keep score and they don't tell you.
And speaking of that, right, I want to backtrack to your comments about Skin Tone. I heard that she was up for a big role in a big TV movie, but you didn't get the role because of your skin tone? The Rudy Bridges story?
Well, basically what happened was the producers told the director, whose name was Usman Palsy, that I was so dark that it looked like I would scare everyone. So they wouldn't hire me. And that's what happened on that. Wow. I haven't spoken on it, but I'm going to put it in my book. And basically that's what happened. So her, who's African and
Cliff is a beautiful chocolate man. Like, he's not blue black. Like, I don't even see that. Oh my goodness, that person sounded like they had a European name anyway, and going off of stereotypes, just like the rest of these Banta type of motherfuckers. Like, I'm gonna say it, you know, just, oh, it looks like you would scare someone. Like, do you know how much people love the dark skin? How many people love the chocolate? Like, are you kidding me? You put them with the right disposition and give them the right character role, you can flip the whole switch on dark skin and all that stuff, man. But he's really not that dark, man. He's a beautiful chocolate man. Beautiful chocolate skin.
French, and a white producer whose name I can't remember said, Mr. Powell, you are our first choice.
Yeah.
If you don't get this role, it's not because we didn't fight for you. But that's happened to me on a McDonald's commercial. One of my friends was the producer and the agency, and the agency thought I was just too dark. You got to understand, I tell people, like I told my panel last night, there was an article years ago, I'm not sure if it was in Esquire magazine, that talked about Black Hollywood, white Hollywood. And there's an article in there by Wesley Snipes, white agent from CAA, that sent Wesley in for a role. And this is documented. And they called him and said, don't send anybody darker than Denzel. Racism.
First of all, Wesley is, ooh, that was that. I'm sorry, that was my dude, man. Y'all gotta stop. Darker than, man, shit. That was beautiful right there. They tripping. I'm so glad that things have changed, and that's why representation is a big thing. You hear a lot of African Americans talk about that, and that's why we going as hard as we are, because like even like I be having like my daughter, she likes to kind of like, you know, pick throwback movies, especially from like the early 2000s. My daughters, they like the fashion, you know what I'm saying, the hairstyles and the fashion from the early, you know, 2000s. So she looks for certain movies, you know what I'm saying, that emulate that. And it's like they're all white cast, you know what I'm saying. It might be one black boy, one black girl, or whatever, but everybody. And it was so funny because my daughter was like, what were we watching? We were watching Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan. And yeah, I think where she like switched with her mom or something like that. And one of the characters, one of the ladies in there, her eyes, she had blue eyes, and my daughter was like, her eyes are so blue, they're scary. Like, and I was like, I feel you, honey. I was like, but this is what we was used to seeing like 90% of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like that was what, you know, all the professionals look like, all the actors and actresses, they were all white and, you know, with the blue eyes and all this other stuff. It's like, y'all got so many different varieties. You can actually see yourselves like in movies and shows now. Like we didn't see ourselves in anything besides, you know, things that were like urban influence, you know, or urban centered. And finally, like, you know, the Family Matters, the Brandies, you know what I'm saying? Like all these different shows started coming out showing 2-parent households, of course, the Cosby Show, stuff like that, you know, where these were actual functional black households and relationships and stuff like that. But before then, like, yeah, like we didn't see that. They were scared of stuff like that. I think safety means something different to women. I'm not sure where that came from because we're listening to a man right now talk. This is Clifton Powell speaking on the different, you know, just conversations and compromises and situations that he's found himself in Hollywood, you know, where he's been asked to compromise himself or he's been discriminated against. So can we just focus on the focus? So, we're just talking in general right now, but I mean, I guess so. I mean, I don't know what safety means to a man. You know, for me, safety to a woman means like, shoot, consistent. Everything gonna be the same. When I come home, you know, your crazy ass homeboys ain't gonna, you don't know no sketchy ass people who's gonna try to rob or shoot us, right? Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna come home every night. I know that people gonna know that there's a man presence here at a certain time of the day. Okay, cool. All right, okay, you know, so it does look different. So I'm not sure what you meant by that, but let's continue.
And permeates, and it's not the same anymore because we've seen, you know, really dark-skinned actresses and dark-skinned actors. But you got to understand, if Obama was my complexion.
Okay, so me personally, I don't really worry about too many different types of men. I just focus on the types of men that I like. So maybe that's what we all should do instead of focusing on all of the men and all of the women, because I don't want all the men. Some of y'all can stay where the fuck y'all at, like for real. I only want certain ones. So focus on the women that you want and not the women that you don't want.
Complexion, he wouldn't have been president. You know what I'm saying? I still get followed around stores. I mean, you know, I ride first class. I was in first class one time and this guy kicked my seat. And I stood up and I said, would you kick my seat if I was a white boy? Because there's all kinds of different people in the world that like, what is this doing flying first class with us up here? You know, I'm like, I make more money than all of y'all in first class. So you got to understand, still people like that in the world. It's people like that in this business. I did a TV series, which I am not going to say, but some of the Teamsters were Klan members. This is real. It's real. I don't take any from anybody that's racist, sexist, or anything, period. And I can tell you a billion stories, and I'm never going to take it. Period. I encountered some racism on New York Undercover, and the sound man, he was trying to put the mic in my hair. I had a scarf. I was playing this little thug guy, and I had a head wrap like Tupac used to wear. And I told the sound guy, I said, "Sir, I don't want to run the wire up in my hair because I'm gonna be rolling on the ground." Maybe I was being a little overprotective, but I could choke. Freak accidents happen in this business all the time. There was a girl, let me tell you this story, on Vampire in Brooklyn, black stunt lady jumping off a building. Her first jump was successful. Her family was there. The second jump, somebody adjusted the mat. Go look this story up. She jumped, hit the mat, and bounced into the wall and died instantly. Yeah. So as I was talking to the sound man, now on a lot.
I mean, shit. Whatchamacallit? That's how they got Brandon Lee out of here. Bruce Lee's son. He was on that was when he was doing The Crow. I think there was some type of, he was supposed to get fake shot, but it actually had a live round instead of a like how does this shit happen, dog? Like, so honestly, I don't even blame her for that. But like, no, like I don't mind putting on the wire, playing the thug, putting the bandana on, but can we put the microphone here? Like, I feel you on that one. I don't want nothing up here, and no, because yeah, shit does happen. Even there was somebody else that got I can't remember who shot somebody on accident on a scene recently. The past like couple years. Was it Bruce Willis or was it damn, I don't want to say it was him. It was white boy though, like older guy. He was shook up. He seemed shook up in it anyway. But yeah, shit happens on these Hollywood sets, and I don't understand how that shit happens either. Like, that's crazy. How, like, man, see, like, y'all daredevils, yeah, exactly. Brandon Lee was on The Crow, but then a couple years ago there was a different actor who actually was like, he pulled the trigger, and you know, it was supposed to be like a blank in there, and it was a live round, and he actually shot and killed somebody on set. And that was a couple years ago. I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, like shit happens like that. So I don't blame him. Like, shoot, you got to advocate for yourself. And that's what I be saying. These people, you know, people who take the road less traveled, you know, they're not going to always do it the way that people want them to do it. But there's a reason why they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And they still going to deliver. They're going to make sure you get what you know. They're going to make you look good and all that shit. But can you make them comfortable in the process? Can you appease them just a little bit?
A lot of the African-American shows back in the day, all the writers, producers were white. You may have one or two black folks there. I don't deal with racism very well because I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I grew up with good white folks and a million black people.
See, I'm from D.C. too, and I don't care how light-skinned I am. I swear to God, I be holding harder for black, you know, slander and all that. Like, no, like you ain't finna say that shit. Like everybody else be like, oh, let it go. They be dark skinned and everything. Nah, nigga, we ain't finna do that over here. Not when I'm around and I look like this. Usually the lighter skinned people like me, I swear to God, sometimes they be more pro-black than the dark skinned ones. But living in DC definitely gives you a different perspective. You right there in the epicenter of all politics, and you're right down the street from the marketplace, you know what I'm saying, from Wall Street and all that stuff. Like, my parents would commute New York back to DC all the time. World Trade Center access, all that shit. So it's like people who are kind of centered around those types of areas, they have a different, like, it was a cool thing in DC to be caught on the train or on the bus reading the paper. That was cool back then. I don't know what they're doing now.
So it's one of my triggers. So I told the sound guy, I said, I don't want to put the wire in my hair. So he turned to me and looked me in my eye. He said, I tell you what, then, why don't you do your sound in post? You know what that means?
No, I don't. No, sir.
What that means is, why don't you do the show while you're here this week, and then you let them fly you back in and then put your sound in. I said, no problem. So I called the first AD and I said, I think your sound man is a racist.
So wait, he suggested that he go ahead and film his scenes, his physical scenes, and then come back for his voiceovers later. That's what in post means. Nigga, how come you can't just do it the way that I fucking told you to do it? You know how to run wires and run microphones. Chop, chop. Let's get it. Time is money.
He said, well, what happened, Mr. Powell? I said, well, I was telling him I wanted to put the mic either down on my leg or behind my back and put the wire up in my shirt somewhere. And he told me to do mines in post. So he said, don't worry, I'll talk to him, Mr. Powell. So I assumed that he talked to him. I got back after lunch. I had to go to sound, same sound guy. I said, sir, like I said before, I don't want to put the wire in my hair. And then he said, what did I tell you? He might have said, boy. He said, boy, what did I tell you before? And I stepped back and I said, let me tell you something, bro. I will knock the fuck out of you on this set. And any one of you white boys got a problem with me, I'll fight every one of you motherfuckers. Period.
See, people don't be understanding. Like, there's so many people with this type of attitude who are law enforcement and medical staff and everything else. They just because laws and legislations and a little bit of time passed doesn't mean that people's ideologies or their peoples ain't perpetuating this bullshit. Please believe it.
And I went to my trailer and I called my manager and I said, I'm leaving. She said, what's the problem? And I said, what the problem? She said, well, Cliff, you're in New York. I said, I don't give a where I am. So the producer called me. He said, what is the problem? I said, this is the problem. Your sound man is a racist. He told me to do my sound in post. I said, so this is what I'm prepared to do. I'm prepared to give you back your hotel money, your flight money, and I'm flying out as soon as I get out of my trailer. He says, Mr. Powell, give me a minute and we'll get you right, because I had the wrong trailer. They put me in a honey wagon. SAG regulates this. So I'm supposed to get everything I'm supposed to get as per SAG. The next day I had a brand new trailer and nobody in the crew talked to me. I did my week and I left. Dr. King said, a man can't ride your back unless it's bent. Period.
Damn.
And that's how I approach this business.
Yo, those were some bars. A man cannot ride your back unless it's bent. Again, compromise. Compromise. Have your standards. So what? Just because somebody's waving some money in front of you, does that mean you're going to put that dress on? That mean you're going to deal with somebody calling you boy and not doing things or accommodating or at least being, at least trying to consider where you're coming from as a accomplished actor or actress or even professional or whatever. What you finna do, man? That was bars. Let me run that shit back, man. Because you got to teach people you got to show people how to treat you, man. For real, you have to. Because if not, they gon' it's a free for all. You food, man.
Dr. King said, a man can't ride your back unless it's bent. Period. And that's how I approach this business. I try to be amiable. I try to be cool, but I'm also a young man that has worked his ass off to get everything I have. I try to be pleasant. I don't believe in any of the isms, but you're not going to punk me. It's never going to happen. I will die first. And that's just how I feel. And if people are listening, please try to understand. It's a lot of sexism in this business. It's still a lot of racism, much better than it was. And I'm not going to bash Hollywood because Hollywood is a microcosm of what's going on in the world right now. Mm-hmm. I'm just not that guy. And I'm never going to be that guy. And so I've lost work because of it.
I need to look at that. He said Hollywood is just a microcosm of what's going on in the real world. Roll that over.
I've been fired because of it. I've walked off of sets because of it. And that's just the way it's going to be. And that's how I operate. And I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. I just try to come to work and do my job. Period. I had a McDonald's commercial. There's two black. Simon, the guy wanted me to be a coon. It's the same. Being a coon and being blocked is the same thing to me. You know, when they fire you, because it's not like I sat down and tried to talk to this guy about Harlem. He never heard of Harlem, really. I said, do you know you want me to make fun of Harlem, which historically is one of the most exclusive African-American enclaves in the world? Where
where the Black Renaissance, the Harlem Renaissance. Come on, bro. Like, yeah, they know what they be doing when they make these. It's not because Harlem will be relatable to black folks. Like, no, you trying to shit on the legacy and trying to burn another Seneca Village down. That's all you trying to do.
Black entertainers couldn't go downtown, so they had to stay in Harlem. Central Avenue in Los Angeles. You have the black hotels. The black entertainers couldn't go to the white places, so they had to stay in Central Avenue. And then they came in and tore Central Avenue apart. You know, I'm not going to make fun of Harlem. Harlem may not look like the Harlem of yesteryear, but Harlem has a lot of historical references and history. And then I did the Langston Hughes poem. I said, have you dug the spill of Sugar Hill? Cast your gems on the sepia thrill. Brown sugar lassie, caramel treat, honey gold baby. That's Langston Hughes talking about Harlem. And you want me as a woke black man to come on your show and make fun of Harlem? I'm not doing that. And I walked off. You know, so, you know, I'm sure I've lost other jobs because they thought I might have been too strong or too masculine. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time analyzing. I just know what I'm gonna do. And I don't want to come across like I'm a gangster or a thug. I'm just a real man who stands up for his rights. That's what I am. And I'm always gonna be that way. Debbie Allen was my dance teacher in high school. You ever work with Debbie? She's tough.
Now y'all know who that is, right? Debbie Allen is y'all beloveds. Oh, Miss Felicia Rashad's, Miss Claire Huxtable's sister in the flesh. Yes, they both came from culture and class. They spoke multiple languages, and Debbie was a trained dancer. She actually was a part of the Fame cast when they made the TV show, but she was a legendary choreographer and dance teacher for years.
And very, very fair and very, very African-American. And her best friend, Glenda Dickerson, was and
Debbie Allen lighter than light. You feel me? What he did say? Pro-black, okay? Y'all, I don't know what's going on with it. You know what I'm saying? It seems to be a reverse what's going on.
My mentor in high school, and they were warriors. Used to march in the streets, and I grew up in that. And it ain't color, because my grandkids look like this brother right here. My white buddy right here. What's your name again? Blake look like my grandkids. and so I don't play no isms. I've been on sets where girls have hit on the other girls. I'm like, not on my set, boo-boo. We're not doing that. We come here to work. Take all that outside after work. I don't do it. And that's why we have the new place and things in place. They have sex coordinators on the set now. They had intimacy coordinators on the sets. They have what's the act that they passed about, producers crossing the line?
An intimacy coordinator. That sounds like an interesting job.
Like Harvey Weinstein. That's why that came into being. It's always been happening since the inception of Hollywood. It's time for it to be stopped on every level. Racism, sexism, and all of that bullying and grooming needs to be stopped and let people do their work. And anybody that don't like it, I don't really care. I'm telling you what I think the truth is. Do your history on the history of Hollywood. Do your history. And you'll understand. It still happens. The Me Too movement is a positive movement. Women shouldn't have to come to work and worry about a producer trying to sexualize them. Should never happen. No man or woman, no child. We see what's happening with what's going on with pedophilia in this country. It's unacceptable. You can't hurt anyone and force or coerce people or demand or block. You can't do it. It's wrong. Never gonna happen on one of my sets. I'm building a movie platform. It's never gonna happen on my set. And I don't care if it's one of my family friends, if it's my friend, get off my set. I'm not having it. It's like getting shot at church. You should never have to go to church like this guy just shot up the damn Sunday school. That should never happen. Go to church to worship, and you gotta worry about somebody. You shouldn't have to worry about going to school and getting shot. Doesn't happen in Canada. They outlaw guns in Canada. We are way behind the times, bro. But that's another story. But I was raised this way, and I grew up in the 60s. I grew up in the civil rights movement, and I was raised by a strong sister who was like my mother, and she didn't play any disrespect, you know, made you continue to be humble and be thankful for your blessings. But I also had teachers who were revolutionaries. And I don't think there's anything revolutionary about being fair to people. But let me be clear. Let me be clear. I don't have a problem with a producer being attracted to dark skin or a pretty girl, but don't mix it inside of your work and then block her if she don't do what you say, or block him if he don't do what you say. So I don't want to sound like a robot here where I say, oh, I guess you never seen a pretty girl you want to sleep with, Mr. Powell. Of course, I've seen him on the set, off the set. But I can tell you in my 46 years, I can count on one finger anybody I've ever been intimate with on any set. And it never happened on those sets. I take it after the movie is over, we might go out and have drinks and dinner and then talk like adults. But you can't hurt kids. You can't intimidate people. You can't coerce people. There's no place for that in the workplace. So on that topic, I think people understand what I'm saying.
All right. Shouts out to the homie Clifton. Straight up, I mean, he's pretty consistent. That's a Cliff I knew. Like I said, it was more, I guess, amazed at my conversation. I talk about current events, news, sports, whatever. It wasn't DMP. And he just wanted to know, okay, what else do you do? Because you're too smart. You're too smart. You're too young, and you're too well-spoken. What else do you do? I was doing, like I said, music at the same time. So shouts out to him. We had a great, you know, I met them throughout the weekend. I know it was Judge Maybelline Ephraim's birthday. So we got a chance to hang out with her. I got to meet the people from the Tupac Shakur Foundation when they were putting that all together, and they were thinking about putting it in Stone Mountain at the time. I don't think that it ever made it to fruition, but I got to meet them. And then again, I got to hear the legendary Dick Gregory speak at the Trumpet Awards. So shouts out to him, man. It's just, yeah, when, like I said, when you are a different type of person and you stand out and you don't go along with the crowd and you have your own opinions and you stand up for what you do, sometimes you're gonna take some hits, man. But at the same time, take them as man, badge of honor at the same time, man, because the amount of knowledge and the wisdom that you gain from really just having to figure things out, knowing them without regurgitating, without having to have a crew behind you to back you up. You can stand by yourself and get the job done. Hats off to y'all, man. And don't even worry about all them people, you know, just because, like I said, you don't do what they want you to do. They want to call you unloyal. They want to call you this and call you that. Ask them, what did that person really owe you, though? And how much of themselves were you expecting? You know what I'm saying? In terms of their reputation, you were expecting people to jeopardize their reputation and everything off of some bullshit that you're doing. Like, I wouldn't ask my friends to do that shit, man. So don't fall into the trap. Yeah, it was one of those shows. I told y'all I'm kind of weaning away from the open panels. I'm kind of gonna get my cook on and a building like that. So shouts out to everybody that came through to the building. Thanks to everybody who donated and supported the channel. If you're watching on the replay and feeling so generous, it is the $ the LA Project on PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. And again, you know what I'm saying, with all these, like I said, if you want to know anything about LA, hit me up. I bet you my emails will be jumping after this. Y'all have a great rest of your day. You know what I'm saying? Y'all take care. I'll see y'all in these YouTube streets. What's today? Hold on. What's today? Today's Monday. Okay. Yeah. We'll be back. Yeah. You know, I'm here on the for the lady show on Wednesdays, and of course on Thursdays for Tough Talks. We back at it. So y'all have a great rest of your day. I will see y'all around these youth. No, y'all are fucking exhausting, and I have to come out of my femininity too much just to keep order. It's a bit much. So I don't know. You know, for the able-bodied people, you know, I'm getting old up in here. I don't have the stamina for the open panels no more. It's too much bullshit. What's going on, Rogue? I'm about to get up out of here. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see y'all next time. Peace out. Where am I at?
The world is a real place where things aren't perfect. It's all about the journey. And where are you going? Fire in my eyes, I keep on growing. This is a little personal. The LA Project.